You are listening to The Chosen One, written by Shalini Shah, voiced by Gwen Dias. Bounty. This story begins 4 decades ago in the year 1976 when a baby girl entered this big beautiful world. Her birth was a magnificent affair, a grand event that marked a celebration aptly befitting the hero of this story. The role of a family in the character building of a child is synonymous with the role of the earth holding the roots of a germinating seed. It has to be loose enough so that the roots grow deeper, and firm enough to hold the seedling upright until it transforms into a tree. Much like a little sapling finding its way towards the sun, she flourished under the warmth and nourishment of her family and extended families, fortunate enough to be blessed with their love till date. But there is no literary definition for perfect parenting. But if there was, her childhood would be a living example of it, and her parents created that perfect environment to thrive. Growing up, she was surrounded by societal pressure to excel and achieve, but her parents always supported her interests, allowing her the liberty to explore life while still giving her enough space to grow. Perhaps the best example of nurturing and being nurtured, this was the haven from where she assembled the pieces of her life's puzzle. A life that was only just getting started. As most of you would think, it was a simple yet fulfilling childhood filled with great memories and the endless bounty of wholehearted love. But as the law of time, it passes. Everything changes. Nothing is constant except time itself. The first hurdle on her journey came with the announcement of an intercaste marriage. As if the universe had tactfully planned the uniting of two souls, she knew in her bones that this is what she wanted. So when distant relatives and people who thought they were close enough to call it upon themselves and turn her marriage into the talk of the town, her parents took up the challenge to hold her hand tight through it all. To most people she knew, this was nothing less than the shock of a lifetime. Her parents stood by like a solid rock, protecting their daughter from all the harsh winds blowing around. Against all odds, they shielded her and agreed to the intercaste marriage. This was a big deal back then, especially in a societal landscape like India, where such things were frowned upon until very recently. Her wedding was a lavish event, memorable to all who made it. As for her, she was on top of the world, on cloud 9. Her life was full of love, more than ever before, and she was delighted. As she moved in with her husband, the feeling of home started settling into her heart slowly. The life she always dreamt of was unfurling itself in front of her eyes in reality. She had grown up observing her mom, a wonderful housewife who never left any stone unturned when it came to taking care of their family's every small need so efficiently. Inspired by her mother's unconditional care and selfless love, she started to enjoy her newly married avatar, mastering her role in the kitchen, developing time management skills, keeping the house spick and span, and multitasking were just some of the skills that she added to her artillery. If only she could add all this to her CV. Every time she met someone from either side of the family, as a housewife, she was made to feel small and demeaning. The reactions varied from raised eyebrows to sulking faces and unsolicited advice, but never was she given enough credit for being worthy or good at what she did. No one ever took the time out to tell her what a great job she was doing. All they were concerned about was that she didn't have a job and wasn't earning a single penny. Why was she letting her degrees and distinction go to waste by spending her time doing menial household chores that any hired staff could do as well? Fortunately, the imposed drama reached a sudden climax with her positive pregnancy tests, and the gratuitous banter came to a sudden halt. This was the moment that the silly girl in me morphed, and I was reborn into a complete woman. Not just an escape from the tattle, but I truly found a purpose when I discovered that we were going to have a baby. I was grateful once again. Oh, those wonderful 9 months. And what followed after the transformational phase changed my world for the better. I found a new meaning to life, with little arms lovingly clinging around me. There began my journey with toddling and babbling. Time ticked away, as is its nature. My happiness multiplied with a second child on the way in the next 5 years, as I became deeply immersed in raising my boys and managing our home. Nothing on the planet meant more to me than my family. I have had visitors and guests indulging in admiration for the satiety and happiness that my home-cooked meals bring to them, and the hospitality that they experience staying with us. This is something that never fails to bring a smile to my face. When asked why I wasn't doing something more meaningful with myself, I couldn't seem to find the right words to explain why I chose this life. I was destined to be a perfect homemaker, looking after my husband, children, and fulfilling my duties with all my heart. To the estranged relatives and friends who viewed my degrees as an accidental scribbling of alphabets, I know that I was far from being ambitious or career-oriented. A working woman, but the stay-at-home kind. How a woman chooses to balance and spend her time is a matter of her concern. Every woman must prioritize her passion and personal choices over other people's opinions. One must be thankful for the bounties and the humble gifts that life bestows upon us.